A claim of 22,000 crore rupees settled for 6.5 crore. That is a 99.97% reduction, meaning lenders agreed to recover less than 3 paise for every 100 rupees they were owed. The political backlash was immediate. The opposition Indian National Congress labeled the tribunal a Neta Company loot tribunal and called the deal a moondan, a complete head shaving rather than a standard financial haircut. At the center of this controversy is media entrepreneur and Essel Group founder Subhash Chandra. The headlines make it sound like an individual walked away with tens of thousands of crores in cash, but Subhash Chandra did not personally borrow 22,000 crore rupees from these banks. To understand how this settlement was actually calculated, we have to look past the political outrage and examine the specific legal mechanism that triggered this massive claim: the personal guarantee. The conflict stems from a much smaller initial corporate transaction. An entity called Vivek Infracon took a loan of roughly 170 crore rupees from Indiabulls Housing Finance. To secure this loan and numerous other debts across various Essel and Z-linked companies, Chandra signed documents acting as a personal guarantor. A personal guarantee is a secondary safety net for lenders. It creates a strict legal contract linking a promoter's individual wealth directly to their company's borrowing. When the corporate entities failed to meet their repayment obligations, the lenders triggered these guarantees, attempting to recover the corporate debt from Chandra's personal assets. This legal maneuver was validated by the Supreme Court. As this update details, the court upheld notifications dragging personal guarantors into insolvency tribunals. This placed Chandra's personal liabilities under the National Company Law Tribunal, entirely separate from his company's bankruptcy proceedings. A few signatures on guarantee documents converted a series of corporate defaults into a personal legal battle over a 22,000 crore claim. The NCLT math requires separating the initial borrowing from the guarantor's liability. We start with the actual debt, the money initially borrowed by the corporate entities. Next is the guarantee. Of the total claims, only about 2,574 crore rupees were tied to Chandra's personal guarantee at the exact time the loans originated. The rest were added as additional security later. Through compounding interest, penalties, and aggregated corporate defaults, the NCLT officially recognized an admitted claim of over 22,000 crore rupees against him personally. Yet the approved resolution plan enforces a proposed recovery of exactly 6.5 crore rupees to settle that massive claim. This discrepancy exists because settling the personal guarantee does not erase the corporate debt. The principal borrowing companies remain on the hook, and the repayment plan projects that lenders will recover around 1,494 crore rupees directly from those businesses. This tribunal document explains the 6.5 crore figure. The resolution professional determined that Chandra's personal estate had been laid bare, possessing no further realizable assets to settle the common pool of liabilities. The lenders are wiping out the personal liability based on what Chandra currently owns, while keeping their claims against the actual corporate borrowers intact. The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code relies heavily on a concept called commercial wisdom, leaving the financial decisions up to the creditors themselves. During the proceedings, Chandra's disclosed on-paper personal net worth was evaluated at just 31.79 crore rupees. Faced with this number, an 80.81% majority of the creditors voted to accept the 6.5 crore payout. Their logic was purely mathematical. Accepting a fraction of his declared assets today yields more than pushing him into a prolonged personal bankruptcy that might recover nothing. But a dissenting minority, including LIC Housing Finance and HDFC Bank, strongly objected. They pointed to historic wealth certificates showing Chandra's net worth exceeded 40,000 crore rupees in 2018, demanding an investigation into how that wealth evaporated. The boardroom fractured. The majority opted to take what little cash was on the table immediately, while the minority wanted to hunt for the assets they believed were shielded from the tribunal. With the creditors split, the decision fell to NCLT judicial member Neela Sharma to cast the tie-breaking vote. In his written order, the tribunal clarified its mandate is to ensure the voting process followed the law, not to substitute its judgment for the creditor's commercial decision. The order notes that without gross procedural irregularity, the tribunal must defer to creditors, as rejecting the plan forces bankruptcy, risking zero recovery. This ruling exposes a severe pressure point in India's debt recovery architecture. The personal guarantee acts as an ironclad secondary security, but when a promoter's on-paper wealth shrinks drastically exactly when defaults occur, that security crumbles. Indian lenders are forced into a corner, deciding whether to accept immediate severe losses or spend years in court chasing historical wealth through complex corporate structures. In the current insolvency framework, speed and finality dictate the terms. For the majority of these banks, securing a few paise on the dollar today is prioritized over fighting a decade-long battle for a claim they may never recover.